Hello and welcome to Ecoholics once again. A very good evening to all of you. Today we will start a discussion with RBI's news, and that is important for the examination purpose. So here today we'll discuss about the rate cut expectation on the next monetary policy committee meeting, which is actually scheduled to be held on 4th of October. Now this is very vital because in order to revive the Indian economy on the growth path, this is very vital that RBI should cut the interest rate in order to streamline the credit in the economy. सो नमस्कार, मैं आज के लेक्चर में हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे कि आरबीआई का जो इंटरेस्ट रेट कट करने की जो एक्सपेक्टेशन है नेक्स्ट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी मीटिंग में जो 4 अक्टूबर को होने वाली है, उस रेट कट के बारे में हम डिस्कस करेंगे जो कि एक्सपेक्टेड है। वो क्योंकि अगर इंडियन इकोनॉमी को ग्रो करना है तो ग्रो करने के साथ साथ जो एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि सेक्टर्स रिवाइव होंगे, जीडीपी फिर से ग्रो होगी, तो उसमें इंटरेस्ट रेट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर प्ले करते हैं क्योंकि उस इंटरेस्ट रेट की वजह से क्रेडिट फ्लो फिर से इकोनॉमी में बढ़ेगा। सो ये था एजेंडा अभी तक का डिस्कशन का। सो लेट्स बिगिन आवर डिस्कशन। So sorry for that, I have a bad throat problem, so just bear with me. Now starting with the Reserve Bank of India, today we'll have the small session on RBI, then we'll discuss the PSB recapitalization package as well. Very important for the examination. Now Reserve Bank of India, you know, that decides on two things, that is the money supply and we can say the interest rate. So money supply and the interest rate. Interest rate plays an important role in credit growth or in credit in the economy. Now to decide this interest rate, there is one committee known as Monetary Policy Committee. Now this committee is having 6 members. This committee is having 6 members. They will decide that how much and by we can say which degree that India or these RBI can reduce the interest rate. So currently interest rates, that is the main benchmark rate which is known as the repo rate, currently it stands at 5.4%. Yeah, now please check. I think it may be visible now. Yes, it is. So again I'll explain. रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया इज़ द सेंट्रल बैंक ऑफ इंडिया। इसका मतलब यही जो है सारे इंटरेस्ट रेट डिसाइड करता है। रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया के 2 काम होते हैं, मनी सप्लाई को रेगुलेट करना और इंटरेस्ट रेट्स को, इंटरेस्ट रेट जो होते हैं उनको एक्चुअली कंट्रोल करना। तो ये जो इंटरेस्ट रेट्स हैं वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट प्ले करते हैं किस चीज़ में, क्रेडिट में। क्रेडिट में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट प्ले करते हैं। अब इसे इंटरेस्ट रेट को डिसाइड करने के लिए एक कमेटी है जिसका नाम है मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कमेटी। ये मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कमेटी में 6 मेंबर्स होते हैं, 3 आरबीआई की साइड से होते हैं और 3 गवर्नमेंट की साइड से होते हैं। Now regarding this, the current interest rate is 5.4%, that is also known as the repo rate. Now this repo rate is the benchmark interest rate. What's the meaning of this benchmark? It means regarding this interest rate, every other interest rate is linked with this repo rate. So all the deposit rates, all the loan rates, so etc. are linked with a certain amount of money to the commercial banks or the financial institutions. So repo rate is currently 5.4%. It means if bank needs a certain amount of money, they can borrow from RBI at this percentage. Why it is called a repo rate? Because if banks are borrowing certain amount of money, they have to give RBI certain amount of collateral. That is in terms of generally government approved securities, which is known as GSEC. Now, after they use this amount of money as the repo rate, they have to again repurchase their government security, which are actually in the custody of Reserve Bank of India. So that is why we can say that if government securities are going towards RBI and the loan is flowing towards bank, then bank will return the loan repayment. So by repaying to the RBI, they will repurchase their government security. That is why the meaning is the repo rate, which is known as the repurchase rate of a repurchase. So many people heard about this repo rate in their studies, newspaper, etc., but they don't know the correct meaning of this repo rate. So that's why I have explained this, because there are a lot of WhatsApp messages on my phone that please explain the repo rate. So this is the example. हिंदी में मैं आपको ध्यान से समझा देता हूँ. 5.4% जो करंट रेपो रेट है, वो रेपो रेट क्या होता है? जो आरबीआई पैसा बैंक्स को लोन देता है. इसका मतलब अगर बैंक्स को ज़रूरत है लोन की, तो 5.4% के इंटरेस्ट रेट पे आरबीआई से पैसा ले सकते हैं. वो आरबीआई से पैसा लेने के लिए उनको कुछ सिक्योरिटी रखनी होगी, कोलेट्रल बोलते हैं जिसको. वो गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज़ जनरली आरबीआई एक्सेप्ट करता है. तो मान लीजिए कोई भी गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी जैसे टी बिल्स हो गया, वो हमने आरबीआई के पास रख दिया और उसके बदले हमने लोन ले लिया. जब लोन को हम ये रीपे करेंगे, तो रीपेमेंट के टाइम हम गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज़ वापस मिलेगी. तो इस टर्म का मतलब होता है रेपो रेट, दैट इज़ रेट ऑफ रीपरचेज. इसका मतलब जो गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज़ हमारी थी, हमने उनको रीपरचेज किया है. कैसे? रीपेमेंट करके. सो ये सारी चीज़ें इसमें आती हैं. So I hope you understand this arrow. This is rate of repurchase. Now what's the current situation right now that RBI is facing? Now on 4th October, very important for the revival of Indian economy, there's a meeting of MPC. MPC meeting is actually conducting on a 2-month basis. So every 2 months they are meeting just to check the repo rate. Now what happened? These rising case of repo rate, that RBI may reduce repo rate by 50 basis point. So on the 4th October they will reduce by 35 basis point, and on the next monetary policy meeting that is expected to be held in December, they're expecting 15 basis point just to revive the economy, and they will reduce to repo rate by 4.9%. That is the expectation from the major economist. Now this is the expectation, and now I would like to tell you that why these are expected. Because if you see the inflation rate in August 2019, that was around 3.2%. जो आरबीआई का टारगेट है दैट इज 4%, प्लस माइनस 6%, प्लस माइनस 2%. तो इसका मतलब है मैक्सिमम में 6% जा सकता है, मिनिमम में 2% जा सकता है. तो इस ब्रैकेट में अगर इन्फ्लेशन रहेगा, दैट वुड बी वेरी कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन फॉर आरबीआई. तो आरबीआई के लिए बहुत कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन होगी. अब अगस्त 2019 में इन्फ्लेशन कम था. ये मैंने आपको बताया जो सीपीआई इन्फ्लेशन है, जो आरबीआई अपने कंसिडरेशन में लेता है. इफ़ यू वांट टू नो मोर अबाउट सीपीआई, देयर इज़ अ लेटेस्ट यूट्यूब वीडियो where I have explained what's the difference between WPI and CPI. अभी के जो रेट कट है वो एक्सपेक्ट किया जा रहा है कि अगले साल 2020 तक इसमें लगभग काफ़ी ज़्यादा रिडक्शन हो जाएगा. वो रिडक्शन होने से क्या होगा, जो यील्ड हैं, जो लैंडिंग रेट्स हैं, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं ग्रोथ के लिए. तो जो लैंडिंग रेट्स होते हैं, लैंडिंग रेट्स का सिंपल सा मतलब है दीज आर दी लोन रेट्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट for the growth of the country. If suppose the actual repo rate is 5.4%, if they will reduce more, it means the cost of borrowing will go down. It means loans will become cheaper, and if loans become cheaper, it means people will borrow money. If they will borrow money, what will happen? They will invest in the economy, so investment will go up. So this is how we can actually targeting towards this increase in the investment. तो जो लैंडिंग रेट्स है मैं आपको बता रहा था बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इन्फ्लेशन अभी कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन में, इन्फ्लेशन 6% से 2% तक रह सकता है, आरबीआई का टारगेट है. आरबीआई और गवर्नमेंट के बीच में एक डील हुई है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग जैसे हम कहते हैं मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी फ्रेमवर्क अग्रीमेंट, उसमें इन्फ्लेशन 6% से 2% के बीच में रहना चाहिए. तो अभी 3.2% है, तो आप देख सकते हैं काफ़ी स्कोप है रेट कट का. और जो सितंबर का इन्फ्लेशन है 2019 का, वो 3.6% की एक्सपेक्टेशन है. तो 3.6% की एक्सपेक्टेशन है, इसका क्या मतलब है कि जो थोड़ा सा राइज होगा उससे ज़्यादा फ़र्क पड़ेगा नहीं. तो जो भी राइज है वो भी एगफ्लेशन के कारण है. एगफ्लेशन एक टर्म है, अगर आपको पता है तो मुझे कमेंट बॉक्स में बताइए, अदरवाइज मैं आपको बताता हूँ. तो एगफ्लेशन सिंपल सा ये चीज़ होती है जो एग्रीकल्चर में इन्फ्लेशन आता है उस वजह से. तो ये जो एगफ्लेशन आपने देखा होगा, ये अभी हाल ही के दिनों में अनियन के प्राइसेस बढ़ रहे हैं. लगभग 80 रुपये किलो पहुंच गया है अनियन न्यू दिल्ली में. तो दिल्ली में जो रेट है वो 80 रुपये किलो है. तो इसका मतलब है जो अनियन के प्राइसेस बढ़ रहे हैं, तो एगफ्लेशन का मतलब है एग्रीकल्चर में अगर इन्फ्लेशन होता है तो उसको एगफ्लेशन कहते हैं. बट आपको पता है पूरे देश में बरसात बहुत अच्छे से हुई है, सो मानसून अच्छे से आया, तो उस वजह से जो फूड प्राइसेस है वो आने वाले समय में कंट्रोल हो जाएंगे. नाउ द बिग क्वेश्चन अराइजेस हियर इज दैट व्हाट विल हैपन टू, वी कैन से, to the lending rates. Now if RBI will reduce the lending rates, what will happen to the bank loan rate? तो बैंक के लोन रेट में क्या फ़र्क पड़ेगा, क्या बैंक का लोन रेट भी कम आएगा? तो इसके लिए आरबीआई ने एक प्रोविज़न बनाया कि 1 अक्टूबर 2019 से जो भी सारे बैंक्स हैं उनका जो लोन है वो एक्सटर्नल बेंचमार्क रेट से लिंक करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, कंपलसरी कर दिया है. तो इसका मतलब जो 50% लोन रेट्स हैं वो तो आपको एक्सटर्नल बेंचमार्क रेट से ही लिंक करना है. इसके लिए मेरा एक डिस्कशन है, वो आप देख लीजिएगा हाल ही के दिनों में. लास्ट में मैं आपको लिंक शेयर कर दूंगा. तो अगर आपको इसके बारे में और जानना है, जो कि हमने एक्सटेंसिवली डिस्कस किया था लाइव सेशन में, कि एक्सटर्नल बेंचमार्क्स कितने हैं और क्या क्या से उन्होंने लिंक किया गया है. अब सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है, जितने भी डाउट्स हैं I'll take later. So the doubts of Prakashi and Muskan I'll take it later. First understand the scenario, then we'll discuss the doubts for the 10 minutes and then we'll wind up the session. So this is how we proceed. So now for now onwards, just listen carefully, sit back, relax, and just listen what I'm saying and understand. If you have any doubt in between the lecture, you can ask anytime. Otherwise, if we take doubts at the end of this lecture. Now apart from this is the main scenario in front of the banks and the RBI. Now if we see the core inflation, you must have heard about this word core. Core inflation is simple inflation calculated on the basis of CPI, but it is excluding the fluctuating price, generally food and fuel, and we can say about the gold as well. So if we exclude, will not include food, fuel and gold from the CPI inflation, it will become core inflation, because food prices are fluctuating on a short term basis, same with fuel, same with gold. So we are excluding these from the CPI, it will become the core inflation. If we include this, that will become headline inflation. So this is what we see if the core inflation, so core inflation is also under control. And core inflation is exactly, we can say, in a very comfortable position. So we can understand this core inflation currently is 4.02%. So it is again under the bar of the RBI's MPC. Now if you see the same situation, if you must have heard about in 2000, there was a recession. At that time there was a governor of RBI was Bimal Jalan. तो उस वक्त जो RBI के गवर्नर थे वो बिमल जलान थे. उस टाइम गवर्नर जलान ने रेट कट, जो रेपो रेट कट था, वो 4.5% तक कर दिया था. और अगर आप देखें तो ये उस वक्त इन्फ्लेशन जो WPI पे आरबीआई उस वक्त कैलकुलेट करता था वो 5% पे था। इसका मतलब उन्होंने जो रियल लेंडिंग रेट्स थे उनको हायर रखा था और मोर नेगेटिव रियल पॉलिसी उन्होंने अपनाई थी। तो अभी सीपीआई के टर्म्स में अगर देखा जाए तो सीपीआई और डब्ल्यूपीआई में लगभग 100 बेसिस पॉइंट्स का डिफरेंस होता है। बेसिस पॉइंट्स का मतलब होता है कि जो परसेंटेज की बात के होते हैं, तो अगर 5% और 6% के बीच में डिफरेंस देखेंगे तो 100 बेसिस पॉइंट्स का होता है। So that is the scenario. Now, what RBI is doing? RBI is cutting this interest rate. Another question in front of this large cut is the United States of America's central bank, that is known as Federal Reserve. So जो अमेरिका का सेंट्रल बैंक है, जैसे इंडिया का आरबीआई है, वैसे अमेरिका में फेडरल रिजर्व के नाम से जाना जाता है। तो फेडरल रिजर्व और आरबीआई का जो रेट होता है उसमें 300 बेसिस पॉइंट्स का डिफरेंस हमेशा होना चाहिए। इसका मतलब 3 परसेंटेज पॉइंट्स का डिफरेंस हमेशा होना चाहिए। उसका रीज़न है कि अगर इससे ज़्यादा कम कर देंगे तो जो आउटफ्लो ऑफ कैपिटल है जो इंडिया एक्सपीरियंस करना शुरू कर जाएगा, क्योंकि यूएस में उनको चीप इंटरेस्ट रेट पे लोन मिल जाएगा। So at the same time we are having this. Apart from this, if you see this, the introduction of the next external benchmark will obviously help, and we have to see that how the transmission of monetary policy will occur. So the main onus on this about increase in the credit growth, it depending on the transmission of monetary policy. What's the meaning of transmission of monetary policy? It means if RBI will reduce the interest rate, banks will also follow the same. So the customers will get the same amount of interest. So this is the situation, and if you have any doubt you can ask. So we'll take the first doubt. Sir, up to what extent you think that reducing the interest rate would revive the economy? Personally, if you are asking me, I would say that currently we are having 5.4%. We have still chance to reduce 50 basis points, and if we reduce this, it will increase the credit into the economy. But increasing the credit is just not from the supply side problem; it is also from the demand side. So if you see from the demand side, there is a problem of demand in the lot of sectors like corporate. If you see the corporate credit, they are not demanding high amount of credit. If you see other persons, like banks are not ready to lend to the risky customers. If their credit history is not good, they will not lend. Another thing is, if we see the demand of other sectors like automobile, etc., that is still sluggish. Apart from this, if you see the corporates, these are over leveraged corporations. What's the meaning of over leveraged firms? Here over leveraged firms means the firms are already under debt and they have taken a lot of amount of debt onto their company. तो पहले से ही उन्होंने काफ़ी सारे लोन ले रखे हैं, बट इतने सारे लोन लिए हैं तो वो आगे के लोन क्रेडिट उनकी जो डिमांड है वो कम है। तो सप्लाई साइड आई वुड से दैट डिक्रीजिंग द इंटरेस्ट रेट वुड sufficiently increase the credit growth, but it depends on the one question, that is transmission of monetary policy. क्योंकि अगर आप देखेंगे, if RBI is reducing the interest rate, if banks are not following that, there is no sense of reducing the interest rate. So RBI had to think about the transmission, कैसे pass on करें interest rate customer तक. So question to your answer is that I would say that decreasing the interest rate would help increasing in the increasing the credit growth rate, that will ultimately revive the economy. But I would say that RBI should focus on transmission, and that's what they are doing. From 1st October they are moving to a new benchmark rate and moving away from MCLR, that is marginal cost of fund based lending rate. तो ये जो MCLR था, इसके अकॉर्डिंग पहले बैंक्स फॉलो करते थे, जो कि इनफेक्टिव निकला, तो RBI ने उनको कंपलसरी कर दिया है. The next question, I hope Prakashi you got the answer for your question. Next is from Muskan. So please explain the liquidity trap. Liquidity trap is simple thing. When you take a lot of debt over debt, and you are not able to repay that, so that is becomes the liquidity trap. Here another thing, another perspective from the liquidity trap is, if you reduce the interest rate, like if you understand the little bit of economics, especially the core economics, suppose with the help of this diagram, Suppose here we have interest rates, and here we have, suppose, the credit. Okay, Prakash, thank you. Then suppose these are the interest rates. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is what we can say the demand for the credit. So that is the demand curve for loan. If you see this, it means if you reduce the interest rate, suppose for example current interest rate is 5%, so this is how it will look. It means the credit growth would be like C1. Suppose you will reduce the interest rate to 4%, then again reduction of 1 percentage point will increase your credit flow into the economy to from C1 to C2, that is this small increase. Then again if you see, if they reduce the interest rate from 4 to 3%, that will again increase the credit. तो जैसे जैसे आप इंटरेस्ट रेट कम करेंगे क्रेडिट ग्रोथ बढ़ती जाएगी. But after a point of time, suppose you'll reduce the interest rate by 50 basis point, that will become the parallel to the this demand curve. It means there won't be any interaction. So this area is what we can say liquidity trap. And here it means by reducing further interest rate, that wouldn't help the credit growth rate. This is what we call the liquidity trap. तो इसका मतलब इससे ज़्यादा अगर आप interest rate कम करेंगे तो credit growth नहीं बढ़ेगी. The best example are Japanese. Japanese central bank did that, and they haven't received well regarding this decrease in the interest rate. So if you have next question, you can ask. How I don't understand, Arul. Please elaborate what you want to ask. Yeah, I need CI CAIB class. He will provide this. You can ask on our number. So this is my WhatsApp number. Will not talk here because this is the academic platform and we are discussing doubts only. So if you want to join any courses, contact on this number. So Muskan, I hope you understand the concept. Yeah. So what I was talking about, that the public sector banks, that government gave 70,000 crore of the recapitalization package, which is known as a recap package, and that is expected to increase the credit to 3.5 lakh crore. But there's a crisis that banks are struggling with the problem of NPA. So obviously to some point this 70,000 crore will help the public sector banks in India. But these NPAs are not just because of the bad loan policy. The main policy is about the over leveraged firms. So we need to understand, because NBFCs are also playing an important role in liquidity. But NBFCs are also in crisis after IL and FS case and DHFL crisis. So infrastructure leasing finance company, finance services company, and discounting house finance limited. These two companies actually struggled a lot in providing the, we can say, sustainability towards NBFC. So there was a problem on liquidity crunch as well. So this is how we have to look, that how 70,000 crores recapitalization package will help enhance the credit in the economy, and that will revive the India's GDP growth rate. Because remember, our target is to reach $5 trillion economy by the year 2024-25. So that's it for today, and if you have any doubt you can ask, otherwise we'll wind up the session. So the next question from the Dinesh Pandey. So is RBI doing right with PMC banks? So are you talking about Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, or there's a mistake in typing about PSB banks? Why always common people suffer? This is a subjective question. Why always common people suffer? But in order to understand the economy, we have to understand the banking system as well. So what RBI is doing a correct thing, but the main question is that the people in RBI, that they are working for, we can say, for the revival of the GDP growth rate, that I don't think so that they are doing a right thing, because they are not focusing on transmission, they are focusing on reducing the interest rate. And reducing the interest rate obviously will attract savings of the households in other form like gold or bullion, etc. That would be detrimental for the economy. So that's what I want to say here in this your question. So that's it for today, and once again thank you for tuning in, and we'll be meeting tomorrow at 9 p.m. So we are rescheduling just for tomorrow. So please tune in at 9 p.m. tomorrow, not at 10:30. And we'll see you there tomorrow at 9 p.m. And from the Monday onwards, we have the same timing, that is 10:30. Just adjust for tomorrow, that is tomorrow is Saturday, and we'll be meeting at 9 p.m. Again, I'm saying. So, Arul, you can contact on this number given on the screen, and we'll talk about this. So, thank you so much. Good night.